At the start of this course, I had very minimal education regarding the curriculum and pedagogy as a whole, and I feel like this class did a great job at opening my eyes and expanding my horizons to everything that it has to entail. Looking at the different types of curriculum, like written and hidden and null, I think that growing up in the Catholic school system, my education was mostly written. Everything was from the book and did as the teachers were told. Not very many of them went out of their way to add things, and not very many of them hid things either. It was very much what the book said is what we did. Me personally, as an educator, I feel like that is not how I'm going to do things and how I feel is not the most effective way. I think that the curriculum is an awesome baseline for what should be taught, but I think that teachers need to also be able to branch out and look at not only what we have to teach, but what we should be teaching. The curriculum is a very outdated document, and I feel that teachers need to modernize the way that they are explaining these topics to children. For example, in math, there really only is one answer to 2 times 2 is 4, or 4 times 2 is 8. But there are multiple ways to show that and explain that to students instead of just 2 times 2 is 4, which is the education that I got. And I feel like that was not the most effective way of learning for me, and I wish my teachers had done a better job as that. Me being a visual learner, it is a lot easier for me to use pictures and diagrams and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm going to do that for my students, as not just show the way that the book says to do it, but show all the options so that all the diversity in the students' learning is represented and every student is able to comprehend. I guess this leads into my teaching styles. I think that my teaching style aligns best with Shiro's teaching style. He very much adapts his way of teaching to the students' needs. And I feel like as an educator, this is what would work best for me, is focusing on what the children that I'm working with at the time are like and using my abilities to shift what we are talking about to better suit them and their needs. I feel like I relate most with this because it's what I wish would have happened to me when I was younger. Getting older into like the higher elementary grades and high school, teachers were starting to understand better, but like definitely in the early 2000s when it was a very said and done thing, especially in the Catholic school system, that teachers did not do a very good job at like looking at the students and what they needed and helping them. I think that my main role as a teacher is something that this course really helped me figure out. My main role as a teacher is to make sure that the students in my class not only get the information that they need, but also feel safe and nurtured and all the extra stuff. And I feel like that is what I would like to focus on in my classrooms, especially since I am aiming for the younger years, like the grade 1, 2s, 3s. I feel like that is when they need that support most. 6 and 7-year-olds aren't coming to school because they care to learn about the history of Canada or because they care to know what the multiplication tables are. They're coming to school because they want to see their friends and they want to see their teachers, and we need to build those connections. And I feel like that is something really big that I'm going to bring into my classroom, is those connections between educator and student to student, and even educator to family. I feel like that is something really big that should be talked about more, which we briefly talked about in one of our seminars this course. So overall, I think that this course was very helpful for me. It helped me figure out who I am as a teacher, what my strong beliefs are as an educator, and the type of community that I want to build in my classroom. And those are 3 very important things that I believe all teachers should have.